Episode 139 of Five Drinks or Midnight. In the show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks. We try to wrap up before midnight. Today, we are headed back to the Spaniard to talk to Miss Franky Marshall, modern bartender, educator, freaking legend. But before we do, like and subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles, leave a comment if you love the episode. Let's get started. Miss Franky, thank you so much for joining me at the Spaniard and Off the Record. Thank you so much. I am such a huge fan. Thank you. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. This is a beautiful room. I'm just so excited to be here, so thank you for having me.
No, thank you. I'm so excited for this. So this is awesome. I guess first question, what are we drinking first?
Well, I wanted to start us off with something light and refreshing because it's so warm out there. And for those of you who know me, and for those of you who don't, I love wine.
Okay.
And so right now we have, well, first of all, santé. Cheers. Or should I say salud, because
Salud.
We're drinking a corpinat.
Okay.
So it's basically, for all intents and purposes, it's a cava.
Okay.
So sparkling wine from, please, let's have a sip actually. So it's a sparkling wine from Spain. This particular one, the Penedès region.
That's really good.
And, oh, that is good. That tastes like a brute. Or actually, it could be brute, not sure. Anyway, it's delightful. And corpinat, I don't know if you know anything about cava.
I know nothing about wine, so like when you sent me your list, I was super excited because like this is like, I think you're my second person that has brought wine, but this is a completely different wine for her.
I mean, so. For me, it's like wine all the time.
Okay, awesome.
But so you know, cava, again, sparkling wine from Spain. But this corpinat, long story short, it's a group of producers who were kind of not happy with the cavadillo, so they went out on their own and started this. They call it corpinat, or the heart of I think that's the heart of Penedès, maybe the cœur, heart, and. So they have a particular set of their own regulations, all organic, hand harvested, all of the élevage done on the property, sustainability, all those kinds of things that go into the corpinat, minimum aging. So that's what we're drinking right now.
It's awesome. Yeah. This is...
Yes, I'm excited. I'm going to try hard not to drink this too quickly.
Well, question one is always an origin story. So, educator, judge, consultant, fucking legend. How did you get started in the hospitality business?
Well, I got started, first of all, thank you again, as a lot of people do actually, working during school, you know, having needed money during like high school, that kind of thing, and college. So I started waitressing. And I eventually got into bartending because I noticed that the bartenders were making a lot more money and doing a lot less work. While I'm standing there filling out bottles of ketchup at the end of the night, looking at them, just standing there going, So I thought, I want to do that instead. So, you know, blue cheese all over my face. So, yeah, and I went to school for music, actually, so I'm a performer. Maybe that's a shock to some people out there.
No.
Just a flair for the dramatic. But, so yeah, it literally like that. Waitressing, eventually got into bartending, and then eventually just wanted to go further and further, and here we are.
And then, like, I mean... Because you started at Clover Club, correct? Like that was one of your first gigs?
Well, that was my first cocktail bar job.
So
I'd been working in, like I said, I started in a chain restaurant that shall remain nameless, and that was my first. Well, actually, my first hospitality job was serving people in an house. I don't know what's the correct term now, in a home for people of a certain age.
Okay.
So serving them food.
Gotcha.
And that was honestly one of the best trainings I'll ever have.
Right.
Because, you know, when people get to a certain age, they don't care
Yeah.
about what they say. They don't care about you. They don't care. All they want is the prunes in the right dish at noon. And if it's not, you're going down.
Okay.
So that was actually my first job when I was really young. But yeah, Clover was my first cocktail bar job.
All right. Because then, like, I mean, again, your resume is just fucking crazy. But, like, I mean, you've traveled the world. Like, you're a cognac professional. Like, I don't even know, like, and wine, and, like, you're a judge. Like, you have all these things. Like, what made, like, where did that, like, kind of come from, I guess, is the big...
So, you know what, competing helped a lot. Okay. Well, first of all, working in a great bar, you know, I mean, at the time, Clover was one of the, you know, just the only cocktail bars out there of note. And I started competing. So I started entering competitions. The first one I entered, that I think there was a mail-in for Saint Germain, you know, and I won a mixing glass, that kind of thing. I didn't win the top prize, but I still got the mixing glass. And then the first competition I entered that I actually, you know, physically competed was the sherry comp that they used to have. And then I won. I had a big year. I can't say what year it was. Yeah. But I had a big year, and I won 3 competitions in 1 year. Okay. And that just really opened. The Plymouth Gin had a competition, so I won for New York, and I was their overall winner. And then Givine Gin had a comp, and I won for New York, and I went to, or the U.S. actually, and I went to compete in France in cognac, ironically, competing in cognac for a gin brand. And then that same year, I won a cognac competition. Okay. So that was a big year, as I said, and the cognac competition was for tails, for the cocktail, and that my prize was winning a trip to Cognac the next year, and then I got on the radar of the cognac deities, the BNIC, and someone from an agency. I always call him out because he really helped start my career in cognac. Bertrand Blanchet. He was working for an agency. He said he ran into me in Portland, Oregon, when I was there for cocktail week, and he said, "What, you know, you should apply to be a cognac educator." And I said, "What? Well, okay." And literally about a week before the deadline, he said, "You know," he followed up, said, "You need to do this now." And I said, "Okay." And I applied. I got accepted. I did the course back in cognac, yay! And that opened the door to be a cognac educator. Then he started working with Pinot de Charente. Then he said, "Why don't you work with me?" So it was literally a succession of these things, of working in a good bar, competing. Competitions open a lot of doors. I know not everybody likes to compete. Sure. Competitions are not for everyone, but for me, they really helped. And I kept competing, kept opening more doors, and you know, and then I kept taking courses because I love to learn. You know, so after the cognac certification, I did a certification in Cava, and in, you know, the tequila certification, I Armagnac course, WSET because I love wine. The Wine Spirits Education Trust, I did level 2 in wine. Okay. I haven't even done the spirits one. I've done Bar 5 Day, and I'm on the faculty now there, and quartermasters. I just did the level 1. So all to say that, you know, these days you don't need certifications, and it's really up to you whether or not you'd like to take them. But for me, it was important, as I said, to keep learning and just to, I don't know, just to keep my mind going. Okay. You know? Yeah.
Awesome. And then I reached out to a lot of people that we share mutual friendships with, and I asked for dirt. But, and again, you have some very good friends. They were all very tight-lipped, but they all came back with one question, and I think that this is just a good way to end question 1. But how did your love for the color purple happen? They're like, ask her why she loves purple. Ask her why she loves purple.
That's like, first of all, I had no idea that you were going to do that. I would have called around ahead of time.
Well, that's
now, you know, it's so funny because when I was growing up, I was, you know, alternative, like gothy, and I wore a lot of black. I still wear a lot of black, but one day I just and I think it was maturity a little bit. One day, because I think I liked it growing up as a younger, but then you know, high school, you're just I I'm so altered, I'm so mean, I'm really, and I think it was a bit of maturity to say, I can wear colors again because I know who I am, and it just looks good on me. It goes with my skin tone. What can I tell you?
There we go. Well, there you go. I mean, I think that's a fucking awesome origin story and a great way to wrap up question 1. So,
all right.
Cheers. Thank you so much. There we go. Question 2, drink 2. What are we drinking?
So here we have, this is a Roncio Sec. Have you ever had a Roncio Sec
Nope.
before?
Nope.
All right. Can I show the bottle?
Please, yeah.
All right. And I don't know if you can see that.
All right.
So Roncio Sec is a type of wine coming from the Languedoc-Roussillon and Catalunya. It's made, this one is from Macabeo.
Okay.
And it is, the term Roncio literally means like, rancid or... But it also refers to being old.
Okay.
So that's what it refers to here. And these wines are a minimum of 5 years old. Okay. And what's interesting is they go through this type of aging where they can be left outdoors in damjan or like bottles, or in barrel, and they're subjected to all kinds of weather fluctuations. And the idea with them, take a nose it. Yeah, nose it. I mean, that's really. I'm not going to tell you what you're getting.
The cheese?
It's a lot of cheese.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting. It's like a cheesecake. It's a Gruyere.
Yeah.
It's raclette. It's mushrooms.
Yep.
I mean, that is one of the characteristics of the Roncio, which we talk about a lot in cognac. But these wines are just so special, and I had the great opportunity I was going to be in Spain anyway a few years ago, and the folks from House Alpins were down there, and they said, why don't you come along and hang out with us for a few days? So yeah, it was such a great trip. And yes, we toured around to a few of these producers, and it was just incredible to see all these bottles of Roncio literally just sitting, the Roncio sitting in these glass containers, just like little garden gnomes, just outside like that. And we went to this one cave. It was literally this cave. They had like slime on the walls, and it was incredible just to see where this stuff comes from. And it's really interesting. It's so food friendly, and Roncio Sec. It's good stuff. Hey, cheers! Ooh. Especially for people, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Who love sherry because it's oxidized. And what's cool about it as well is that it's shelf stable. Because I from what I understand, and all this stuff I'm learning from the House Alpins website, but from what I understand is because it's already gone through all this process, it's basically already oxidized. Okay. So it's not going to get any worse. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, for me, that is delicious. I mean, I want to drink. I mean, it's not for everybody. You really have to enjoy that kind of. It's really expressive. It's a lot of umami. I mean, it's soy sauce. It's everything. It's just umami.
Yeah,
it's cheese. It's all that.
I don't not like it, but I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah,
to be honest,
and that's totally fine. And that's also why I wanted to introduce you to, because not a lot of people know it. And for those people, who love the sherry and who love the things that are different, the geeks who just want to be, I know everything. I want to, I've tasted everything. Like, oh yeah, taste this. Yeah.
This is.
But imagine it with food.
Mm.
I should have ordered garçon.
Awesome. All right, so question 2. Julie has classified you as having a level of hospitality that is rarely seen in the industry. What does hospitality mean to you?
Wow. First of all, I'm flattered. Hospitality for me, it's taken on different shapes and meanings over the years. Now it's about being really gracious, empathetic, and anticipating guest needs. Okay. And not just your guest, just people around you when you're in this kind of environment. And I know this sound like buzzwords, but I really do mean it. And when I say empathy, it's putting yourself in the guest position, because especially in New York, people tend to have a little bit of a short fuse. Guests do the wrong thing, and they do sometimes. Yeah. But it's just understanding, just having that understanding. No, this is the way we do things here. Please don't you know, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
please don't put your feet on the table.
Well, yeah. Well, actually,
don't reach across the bar and grab.
Yes, thank you. There were so many things.
You're like, oh,
yeah. Well, it's really when I was running Le Boudoir, you know, we're a beautiful basement space, and we had all like lovely divans that you could lay on, and ottomans, and people automatically would come in, take their shoes off, and put their feet up on this like right away. And I would, at first it used to bother me a lot, you know, but I just go out and gently say, would you mind, you know, just taking your feet off? I mean, it's things like that, or you know, maybe you're offering them like somewhere else to sit, maybe they're more comfortable over here. But it's that kind of thing, and it's again just being very open and I think the empathy is a big thing, you know, and you know, just in the practical terms, like I said, anticipating guest needs, you know, so they don't have to say, oh, you know, if they drop a napkin, you know, you don't have to be in fine dining to just say, oh, you know, maybe I'll replace that for you. You know what I mean? And again, you know, New York especially, it really depends on where you're working and where you're frequenting as to what kind of hospitality you're going to get. But, you know, and just to give you, and this isn't even so much hospitality as much, but it was just, I went to get takeout the other day, and I'm so used to getting bad, you know, people with takeout, they're like, whatever, I don't care, you know, just And this gentleman was so warm and welcoming. You know, he smiled. I think, oh my God. And it wasn't a flirtatious smile. It was just a, hey, you know, what can I get for you? It was just some Jamaican takeout place. And I had to compliment him at the end of the whole thing. You know, he put my food together. He wiped off a little gravy that was dripping. I was literally standing there going, oh my God. I want to hire, you know, I wish I was working at this because I wanted to hire this person.
There you go.
Because you can't teach a lot of that. So we try. We try to teach it, but a lot of it's innate, and a lot of it comes from. And I wasn't always like this. You know, people can tell you other stories. You know, I get like that too, but I have to just take a step back. You know, sometimes and just say, okay, why are people here? And sometimes you need to think about it. You know, why is the guest? Why is someone here to pay, you know, $18 for a glass of wine, or you know, again, $25 for a cocktail? I can stay home. You know, I don't need to go out. So these are all part of the reason. You know, your hospitality is part of the reason that people are out. You know what I mean? That welcoming smile, or just like, it's great to see you again. You know, remembering people. You know, and I don't always remember everybody. I'll be honest.
I terrible with, like, I'm really good with faces. I'm terrible with names. And like, I can be like, but I can remember someone's drink that I've met like 3 times, and then be like, oh yeah, you're drinking this. And
or just the littlest thing, you know, the littlest compliments, or the, you know, just the kind of, thanks for being here, you know, or the kind of non-sexual wink. You gotta be careful these days.
No, but I think it is. It's that first welcome greeting. I think that says
it's so much. So much. You know, and I mean, and I take pride in that stuff. You know, when I was at Clover, I will say, I was saying, nobody talk to my tables. These are my tables. Because I did it. I cared about people, and I just wanted them to, like, look at me, talk to me. I'll handle it.
Don't.
Don't look at anyone else.
There's no one else. There's nothing else. It's just you and me.
Exactly. And it was a little, you know, off sometimes. You know, I was like, woo, sometimes. But it's, I think it made a difference from the guest perspective. Because they could tell that I cared, and I was there with them, you know. And you can't always do it. Let's be honest. Sometimes it's just too busy. But again, it's those little things that you can do, you know, with body language, just to let the guests know it's super busy, but I'm glad you're here. You know what I mean? You know, this kind of whatever it is.
So. No, I totally get it. Okay, and then my follow-up question off of that is, if you would give one piece of advice for someone that's now just getting into the business, what would it be?
Well, I would say, ask yourself, why are you here? You know, are you here just for the money? Are you here because you actually enjoy working with whatever liquids you're working with, or serving people? Because not everyone, if you really think about it, not everyone likes to serve others. But that's what we do. That's what we're doing. And if you really don't like that, maybe it's not for you,
Okay.
you know, or maybe you just convince yourself that you like it for those 8, 10, 24 hours that the shift runs. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's just some self-reflection, and this is something that I've thought a lot about and thinking more about, because it's not something that we're taught, and maybe we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Because but it is something that we need to ask ourselves. You know, do I like to serve people?
Yeah.
Do I like service? Because that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know, it's not an easy job though.
No,
For sure,
it's definitely not.
It's not easy to be on. And as a matter of fact, it's just hard to be on all the time.
Yep.
And to be gracious all the time and smiling all the time. But you know, you have to. I believe you have to try,
Yep.
because that's part of our jobs. Not to be smiling like this all the time, but to be, again, ask yourself why you here. Why is a guest coming in and paying, you know, 3 times the bottle, 4 times the bottle price for a glass of wine? You know,
and you can be at home drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't want to get into the conversation about how much it costs to like, put cocktails together. You know, that's not the point right now, what we're talking about. But it's because I respect that. I know that a lot of work goes into, you know, making cocktails and everything else. Everything costs money.
Yes.
We get that.
Yeah.
But I think, do we get the point?
Yeah,
You know,
I think so.
All right.
I think we do. But there we go. Well, that was a quick, easy question too.
Easy for you. I need another sip.
Question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
All right, so now we're on to a sake.
All right.
And I've really gotten more into sake over the last few years, because I was actually, give it a nose.
Right.
I was actually working some shifts at a place called Rule of Thirds in Brooklyn. And thanks to a gentleman named George Padilla, I learned a lot about different styles of sake. Because you know, I was used to the stuff you drink in those places in the East Village. Right? Nothing wrong with them. But so what's interesting about this one, it's from a place called, a brewery called Terada Honke.
Okay.
And maybe I got this pronounced that correctly. Yeah, Terada Honke. They're in Chiba, just the east of Tokyo. It's so confusing because for me, so for instance, this one is 90%.
Okay.
Right, so that means that 10%, only 10% is polished away.
Okay.
So they call it 90%. In my mind, they should say it's 10%.
Right.
And 90%, right? Because that's more logical, so that's why I'm always so confused. But, so what that means is that we've retained, or they're retaining all of these other flavors and interesting compounds, right? As opposed to these other sakes, which normally they're considered higher quality because more is taken away.
Okay.
But here, less is taken away.
Okay.
So we have more kind of going on in the glass. I'm not a sake expert. I'm still learning about it. But what I do know is, let's give this a note.
Yeah. Cheese again?
It's a different kind of cheese, though. So this has a lot more wine characteristics. There's a lot of, I get a lot of grape. I got like lemon curd. I'm getting, you know, green apples, and it almost smells like an Albarino. It smells like a kind of a white wine. There's a lot of white wine characteristics to me.
All right.
But let's taste it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I really like this stuff. It's got a lot of acidity to it. Again, like that. It's like bursting with a lot of flavor. It's like a lot of grapefruit. It's again a great food sake. Well, most sakes are, to be honest. But this is, I mean, and it's a different style. What I would say, and what people call these are kind of more like in the style of natural wines, because they're lower intervention. And this particular this particular brewery, again, they do a lot of sustainable practices, and I'm not sure. I think that they're mostly organic. I'm not exactly sure on that, but so it's a different style. You know, it's a different style than what we're used to, and that's what I really like about it. You know, they're different. I don't like to use the F word, the F-U-N-K word.
Funk.
There are better words for that, but it's just. It's unexpected.
Yeah, no.
It's wine-like. It's bright. It's got great acidity. It's
the nose was throwing me off, but the taste, the palate is just amazing. Like that is, I love the zip from the citrus. Like the zest. Like, just
definitely. I could just imagine. I mean, it's got such great acidity. I mean, it's an intense, more intense kind of park wine.
Yeah.
Or sake.
Yeah.
You know, equivalent to a park wine. Something you take to the park. But yeah, I'm so glad that I got to know some of these different producers. I mean, sake is really, really varied. And again, when you're kind of, I wouldn't say, I didn't grow up with sake, but when I first started drinking it, it was the kind of warm stuff in those, again, those, you know, louche sushi places, you know, St. Mark's and that kind of thing. And this one is great warm.
Okay.
And we have it chilled now, but it's great warm and it's great at room temperature. And that's another thing with sake. You can drink it, you know, in different temperatures. So. Does
it give it a little bit more of a, does the taste change when it's warmer, or? Like,
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I've had this warm, and again, I think I've had different bottlings of it.
Okay.
It's not vintage, but they. I think that there is bottle variation on these.
Okay.
So when I've had this warm, it's less citrus forward.
Okay.
You know, we're getting a lot of citrus notes right now. It's very bright. It's delicious warm as well.
Yeah.
I really like it warm too, and it's 21% ABV.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's high up there.
It's yeah, and that Rolsia we had earlier previously was 17%.
Wow.
In case anyone was wondering. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, question 3.
Yes.
We usually call this the talking shit segment because we've had 3 drinks, but we're not gonna. Again, we're just kind of getting to know each other. But where do you see the cocktail culture going?
Where do I see the cocktail culture going? Well, do you mean as far as drink making, or as far as?
I think in everything. I mean, because like COVID kind of like I feel that where the cocktail culture is kind of springing back in a really magnificent and great way the past like 2 years. I think COVID might have killed it a lot because people were at home making cocktails and being like. Kidding, and then coming to the bar and being like, I like my old fashioned with 7 ounces of whiskey. Can you like make that for me? And be like, I make this so much better at home. And you're like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
But like, I think that as a guest, I think that people are coming back, and I think that like bars are finally. And maybe I'm just naive, and it's just the bars that we go to. But like, it's like I think bars are finally springing back here in New York and are really kind of starting to flourish again, and people are getting. A little bit more creative and a little bit more kind of back to where like 2006 when like it was really kind of booming.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like we're there, or are we not there, or are we like?
Well, first of all, it's a tough question.
Yeah.
And you know, there are many different ways we can go with the answer. Cocktail wise, I do think that, you know, especially in the U.S., they're finally, I'll use the word, catching up in certain ways to European and Asian, what they've been doing over there technique wise. You know, there's a lot of reasons why it's difficult to do it here, legalities and, you know, space and cost and that kind of thing. But we're seeing like the culinary cocktail, or the cocktail that takes as much prep as, you know, food in restaurants, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, in many places in Europe, that's the norm. We don't see that as much here. Like we're starting to see it more, and it's, for me, it's a little bit worrisome and a little bit great at the same time. You know, worrisome because I hope that people don't feel like just to make a great cocktail you need to rotovap something or sous vide everything or infuse this and you know, and do all this stuff, which can create amazing cocktails, but it's also again labor intensive and cost, you know, not cost effective and that kind of thing. I think milk punch is a great example. You know, a lot of people are doing milk punch these days, right? All over the place, which is fairly, you know, straightforward to do, but it takes time. You know, clarification, all that stuff. So I think that these are great tools. And the other problem is too, not everyone can do them. So there's this kind of, you know, maybe some people are asking themselves, well, can I still create amazing cocktails if I can't do all these things? And the answer is yes, you can. You know, you just have to, again, be more familiar with the spirits you're using, or the products, or all the liquids that you're using. So that's one aspect. As far as, you know, with the guests, I do think, people are definitely back out. But again, it costs a lot of money to operate a business. And when you do see cocktails that, you know, cost $20, $25, $30, how many rounds of those can you have? It's very difficult to, you know, on both sides, because I know where that money's going for the bar or for the establishment, but on the other side, you know, it's a little bit more difficult for the guest. So, and these are things that I struggle with when I sometimes think about opening a bar, which is a lot more lately. I think, how do I do that?
Yeah.
You know, how do I check all of these boxes? How do I make amazing cocktails? How do I not charge people, you know, this amount of money,
right.
or do I have to? You know, so I think that's another factor. But you know, there's just, like we said earlier, there's a lot more. There are people who are newer to the industry, coming from various backgrounds, different ages. I think that's very exciting, but there's a little bit of a lack of training in certain areas. Like I was alluding to earlier, this is something I've been talking about. I call it the way of the bartender, and it's nothing to do with making drinks. It's all about everything else. As we were saying earlier, the guest interaction, the hospitality, reading the guest, reading the room, you know, making connections, having self-worth and value. These are things that I wasn't taught, but I had to, after observation and years of working, I figured out on my own.
You developed the market,
Right, and why are people not talking about this? Why are they not training bartenders into actually how to be a bartender rather than just on how to bartend?
Yep.
And this is something I'd like to see more of, and I'm a proponent of, and I'm doing the charge. I'm actually presenting a seminar at Tales. I don't know when this is going to air, but I will be talking a lot more about that in the future.
And you're doing like a full panel at Tales, right?
At Tales, I'm doing a panel. I actually spoke about this as a solo presenter at Boudoir Mexico last year.
Okay.
And I want to keep talking about it. Because again, it's not something we're training people on, and it's so very important.
Awesome.
You know, on how to be a bartender. Yep. You know, the art of it rather than the craft.
Yep. No, I get you. Like, and I think that, yes, because I think everybody like lately is coming out and being like, oh, I'm going to be a 50 best bartender, and you're like, that may not ever happen. Like, you can sit there and be like, sure, like, but you're not going to be a star tender right off the bat. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a whole other episode probably, and it's hard to talk about because there's so many factors. And I've definitely seen that, and I know from what I've heard that there are certain owners that put that pressure on their staff.
Yep.
Like, we want to be 50 best, what can we do? You know, and there are certain staffs who put that pressure on their owners, thinking, I'm coming to work here, why aren't we on the list?
Yep.
And it's a vicious cycle. And yeah, not everyone's going to be there, and not everyone who's there's. It's always questionable.
Yeah.
You know, and the other side as well is that there is a formula.
Yeah.
You know, and it's tried and true, and you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see the boxes you need to check. Are you willing to do that? And for what? And it's debatable as to whether or not that puts more money that brings more money to the bar. Again, I have a lot of thoughts. I don't want to go too far deep into it, but you know, it's just choose wisely.
Yeah.
You know, as far as the path that you're going to take, I do think that it does need to be a consideration at the outset.
Yeah. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm really bummed. I'm going to have already my FOMO has started because I'm not going to Tales this year, and hopefully they'll put your talk on so we can watch.
Well, you know, and hopefully I'll do more talks, because what I hope to do is do talk about the same subjects but with different panels, with different people, so I get a lot more opinions, you know, from different parts of the world and with people operating in different ways, and my perspective changes as well. So I'm always learning. And you know, Tales will always be there. Yeah. We will miss you, but you know,
it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I don't think we talked that much shit, and I think everybody was safe in what we said. So we did good. Question, score, drink for. What are we drinking?
So now we're drinking a classic gin martini.
Excellent.
This is a wet one.
All right.
Made with Plymouth gin.
Okay.
Take a sip. I always order it with a twist and an olive, so I have options. But I chose Plymouth actually because, there's so many brands of gin that I like, but I just chose Plymouth because it's a little close to my heart, because one of the first competitions I won was for Plymouth gin. So I actually got to go over there and visit and have an incredible time. It was it was just one of those like eye-opening moments. And yeah, and I actually, funnily enough, made the cocktail. The one that I originally won with was a Martinez variation. That was with 1.5 Plymouth, 1.5 Pinot de Charente. And I think I did about a half Maraschino. And that was before I knew anything about Pinot. And I just saw it there in the fridge, and I thought, oh, let me just reach for that, because I have no idea what that is. And so it just, again, almost coming full circle, now working so much with Pinot. So just, it's a bit of a nostalgic drink there for me.
Okay, awesome. Again, a Thursday afternoon, who doesn't like
Darling.
a martini?
And this is one of my favorite, when I go to hotel bars, gin martini. Wet gin martini, yeah.
Okay.
Please, please.
All right.
Yeah.
Now we know. I will file that away. That's... All right. So question 4.
Yes.
You have traveled the globe. Your Wikipedia even says you know French, or you know French from living in France. You know Spanish from living in Spain. If there was one place that, when this is all said and done, that you would be like, this is where home is.
Whoa.
Is there a place that you would want to set up?
That's a tough question. First of all, there are still places I haven't been yet.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm always ready for travel.
All right.
If anyone out there wants to take me somewhere. It's a predictable answer. What do you think? In the comments. No. I do have a weakness for Paris.
Okay.
It's so predictable, but it's so true. I think about that. It's one of those cities that, I visited when I was quite young, when I was about 10 for the first time. And I remember did one of those coach tours, in a bus. Yeah. And I was sitting there, and I remember the tour guide, he said, we were on the Champs-Elysees, we were stuck in traffic, and the tour guide said, look outside, it's just diamonds and rubies. And the diamonds were all the tail lights of all the cars, and the rubies were all the headlights. Yeah. And I remember sitting there as a kid going, and subsequently, every time I go to that city, it's just this, I get that feeling. I hate to even say it. I don't like to reveal those weak moments.
Oh, no,
but it's so true. That's one of those cities that really gets me. But just for the record, I've seen the bad parts of it too. It has all been, foie gras,
diamonds and rubies.
Exactly. That's one place. But I one thing I love about living in New York is that you can get a little bit of everywhere else here. So, but I don't know. I'm willing to be convinced by other cities. Okay. So if anyone else, other city wants to come and
woo you away.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a favorite watering hole in each city, or is there one that this has been the best experience, then that's my top #1 bar kind of thing?
You know what? They change. Okay. They really do change. I mean, even in Paris, when I was younger, I went to this place called La Closerie de Lillas in Montparnasse area in the 15th. And that was just a jewel box. Well, the bar is like a jewel box place. It's a well-known cafe that, Hemingway used to go to. It's one of those places. But I remember going there to that bar and just having these really incredible moments, just looking around the room at all of these, again, these characters. You just didn't know who these people were. And it was a pretty fascinating place. But now when I go to Paris, it's all about the wine bars. Surprise, surprise. Because you can still get great deals on great wines and food. It's just you just can't compete here with what you can put out over there. I mean, New York tries, with all these small plates places and these wine bars, and they just don't hit quite the same way. I hate to say it.
No,
it's just economics at the end of the day, I feel. But yeah, there's something about the places over there. It's the quality that you're getting. But it depends. I'm always open. I remember I was in Osaka I went to Japan by myself in, I think, 2018. And I was looking for one bar, and I just happened upon a sherry bar in Osaka.
Oh, wow.
And it was called Bar Hemingway, actually.
Okay.
And I just happened to be there around 4 o'clock, and it was the perfect aperitivo hour. And it was, as you find a lot in Japan, the owner was the bartender, And it was just this incredible experience, and I just thought, where am I right now? You know, and I didn't get to go back because it was a short trip, but that's a place that I think about. And I've had some incredible experiences at these little places, or sometimes big places, but I've been lucky just to have just so many of these memories, these incredible spaces. So yeah, I feel very privileged. You know, I mean, some of it's been, a lot of it I've paid for on my own, but to be honest, some of it's been brand trips, some of it's been, you know, winning a competition or being invited. But yeah, been very privileged.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you have, you talk a lot about wine, and then you also said like this is the hotel kind. Do you have a drink that is kind of like going into a new place that'd be like, this is my drink, I'm going to order like I'm an old fashioned guy, so like every time I go to a place, and sometimes maybe it's just a whiskey neat, because again, it's not. I've been kicked out of a lot of bars in Ireland ordering an old fashioned. Really? Because they don't have the fucking shit to do that.
That sounds pretty Irish.
Like, but do you have like? Is there like one that is a Miss Franky like signature drink, if you will, or
no? You know what? I try to choose my drink based on the house.
Okay.
It doesn't always work, but because I am that person who'll go to a dive bar and say, "How's the wine?"
Like,
and the bartender, exactly. It's red or it's white, and I will gamble sometimes and take a chance on the wine. No, but I really do try to choose. I'm really flexible. Okay. When it comes to drinking, you know, I manage my own expectations, so I don't go into a bar expecting them to have. You know what I mean? Whatever it is.
Yeah, drink local. Like,
exactly. I do case by case. I mean, again, ideally, I would love to drink these other things. Sure. Sometimes I do try, but if I don't like something, sometimes I'll order. I'll take a chance on the wine, and it's not good wine, so I'm just like, okay, done with that. Okay. Now I'll move on to. Let me look at that back bar. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Is there a spirit that you're like, I will never touch again?
Ooh. No. Okay. I did have a couple of bad moments with certain things that shall not be named. Okay. I just don't want to call. I just don't want to call anything. No. I don't want to do that. But now maturing and honestly, and interestingly, perhaps this is what I tell guests as well. You know, there's always a guest that says, "Oh, I can't drink gin," or "I can't drink tequila because," and I said, "Was it because of bad experience?" Yeah. College. And I said, "You know what? Things have changed. The quality's much better now. Why don't you try? Why don't you give it a try?" Yeah. And 9 times out of 9, it works. Yeah. And so I like to give everything a chance again. I'm really open when it comes to drinking and eating. I really am. Yeah. So I don't like to be one of those people who are set in their ways. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when that kind of person who's set in their ways kind of bothers me. Yeah, sure. So I'm just like, loosen up. Try things. Yeah. Don't just drink the same thing every time. So I don't like to do that either. Yeah. Especially if it's like, I had that in college, and you're like, that was like 15, 20 years ago. Or even if it was last year. You know what I mean? Like, just try it. Yeah. And honestly, that's what I love about wine, is that wine changes from year to year and vintage to vintage, and it's just, I mean, we're talking about, you know, something really delicate like good grapes. You know, I mean, they're at the mercy of the weather, you know, climate change and all that stuff. So it is pretty fascinating, and that's the great thing about spirits, is that you know what you're getting every time. Yeah. But so, you know, either or. Okay. Well, a lot of questions for question 4. So. Oh well. Cheers. Brush that one off, didn't I? No worries. There we go. Go. All right. Woo. Question 5, drink 5, last drink of the night. What are we drinking? Well, I thought I'd bring something a little special. So I haven't even tasted this myself. Okay. But this is, as we know, I'm a cognac educator, and this is a cognac from Through the Grapevine. Okay. And they specialize in small or bottlings of smaller producers, or single cask, or single crew, real unusual bottlings. So this is something that thank you, Kate Perry, sent to me. This is from Maxime Tréhol. Okay. That is the name of the family. Family producers in cognac. And I believe this is from the Framboise. It is 43.3% ABV, and you know, most cognacs that are released are at about 40%. So ARBs obviously higher here. So this is one thing with cognac. You're going to see more high ABV bottlings. Again, these single casks. You won't see them everywhere, but they are out there.
Okay.
And so I'm excited to try this because I haven't yet. And so here we go.
There we go. All right. I'm excited as well.
All right, I'm just going to look at this. Color. As you can see, it's fairly pale. I mean, as for
a cognac.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got this really nice amber, gold amber.
When you said pale, it's not like meat.
No, it's not. Well, it's not. I didn't want. Oh my God, I'm thinking Martin Short when he. I don't know if you've ever seen him doing his jokes with Conan or.
Yeah.
You are so white.
Yeah.
You make the, yeah.
No, I mean you're pale.
Yes.
You're a pale.
I'm a white man.
You make Mike Pence look like a character in Black Panther.
Yeah. Yep.
Cheers. Cheers. Santé. Ooh. Oh no. Oh.
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
This is more your style, right?
No, this is just right off the nose. Like that is just.
It definitely smells delicious. You get the ABV for sure. I'm gonna let that calm down for a little bit, but yeah. So just I have to give my plug for cognac because being a cognac educator has really opened a lot of doors for me. I've enjoyed it so much. I've been able to go across the country training bartenders, and it's I really do believe in the category. I'm so happy to work with it. Of course, I work across all categories, but cognac does have a special place for me. And it's what I want people to know, that a lot of cognac producers beyond the big four, and even with the big four, they're supported by grower producers. They're supported by smaller families who sell them wine, or sell them eau de vie sometimes that they blend together. And this is one of those examples where these people sold to other houses, large houses, and now they're bottling under their own name. So there is innovation in cognac, there is variation in cognac, and you just have to look for,
Sure.
Oh. All right.
All right. Fuck yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Oh.
That's delightful. And what's nice is you get it a little bit here. I believe, I don't know if I said already, this is from the Framboise, which is the largest growing region in cognac. They have 6 crus, they're called, or 6 growing regions. This is from the Framboise. A lot of Framboise are express that kind of liveliness. There's a lot of fruit here still. The oak is not overpowering. And this is 2003, by the way.
Oh, wow.
It says on the label. So,
okay.
The whole 2003, 43.3% ABV.
Wow, it's 21 years.
So, there we go.
There we go.
I mean, that is right. It's luscious. It's,
yeah.
Me gusta.
What's that?
No, I said me gusta. That means I like it in
Okay,
Spanish.
Sorry.
You've been living in New York and you even got that one?
Nope.
J'aime bien ça. That's French. I like it.
Alright. So, question 5 comes down to the Whiskey Wednesday coin.
Uh-oh.
You can flip it, you can spin it. The coin will give us the answer. You don't have to answer. But I hope you do answer after whatever the coin says, because this was a quote from you, and it's one of the reasons why I was fascinated and so happy that you said yes to doing the show. But question 5. Do bartenders need to be more than just bartenders?
Oh boy, let me spin for that one. I hope I can spin that. Oh my god, that's how I get spin. How do we do that properly? There we go.
There we go.
That's the spin.
Oh, that's coming up as a fuck no, but I think maybe you have a broken coin. There.
Oh, that's a nice spin. You've done this before.
Yeah, that's still a fuck no. Yep. Still
so yeah, so no.
Okay, no. Well,
scene.
Yeah. Where the question came from was because there was you were doing it. I think it was on Punch that you did an interview with, and it was all about how bartenders usually get pigeonholed, and you can do other things than just bartending.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that I just thought it'd be a fun way to wrap up the yes or no question.
Yeah. Well, it's not a yes or no question.
Right.
The answer's not a yes or no. So for me, and why I call myself a modern bartender. Again, not to be pretentious, but it's because I wear many hats. I do literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So, I do a lot of different things. And for me, that's been really fulfilling, and it's something I wanted to do. I did not just want to bartend.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be able to be an educator, or to be able to judge competitions for cocktails, judge spirit, to be able to host events, to be able to create cocktails. You know, I do all of these, as well as physically making drinks. These are all different skill sets. They're interrelated, but they're different. So, no, you don't have to do all of those things. You can just bartend, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. But I think the point for me is that you can. You know, this industry, being behind these bars, can lead us to so many other opportunities, as well as in the direction of brands. If you want to represent brands, if you want to own your own bar, if you want to own your own, start your own brand, or you want to start consulting in different areas. So I think there are so many opportunities, and I think that bartenders should just be open to them.
Okay.
You know, because we can't. It's very hard to do this, physically do this forever, unless maybe you work at a hotel bar in your unit. Sorry, but no, it is hard to do. So I do think that contingencies are an intelligent way to go. Okay. Especially, again, post-pandemic, right? We saw. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, there we go. 5 drinks down, 5 questions answered.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go more. Another round.
Miss Franky, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been a delight. I really appreciate it. And
till we can drink together again.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. There.